Welcome to Virtual Realms, I'm Ranger 1. I chose to build Seaview Base in this location on the island for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to do a little deep sea exploring of the island's oceans, which I have already done. To be honest, it's a bit barren here, at least at this point in time. And my second reason was I wanted easy access to move back and forth to other ARC maps. Do a little off-world exploring, if you will. Since Ragnarok was recently released, I decided that it would be an excellent place to begin. I know a lot of channels have moved there as well, so I hope you aren't tired of seeing it, but to be honest, after exploring there for a while, I've come to believe that there are so many interesting and excellent locations to explore and build, well, there's little danger of repetition. I chose my first build location a short distance from the Blue Obelisk, to make sure it was easy for you to find if you so desire. To kill two birds with one stone, I have decided to make the first iteration of this build to be created using only the Pimp My Home mods, from start to finish. No vanilla art components or other mods were used at all. Keep in mind that there are actually two Pimp My Home mods. Pimp My Home itself is mostly decorative and lighting, while the Pimp My Home Building Components mod contains all of the main base building components: walls, ceilings, foundations, etc. The actual build location is just over that ridge. Before we do anything else, let's head over and take a look at the area before the build was started. I resisted the temptation to build on a high area for this one, instead choosing to put an emphasis on ease of access, unusual topography, and points of interest nearby. I finally settled on this lowland area that is crisscrossed by natural canals with relatively few large predators nearby. The canals form a natural, small island in the center of the area with steep banks broken only in two places for easy access. Two places that Roman carnivores were very unlikely to stumble upon with any frequency. A stone's throw away is a deep channel to the outer ocean, and there's another point of interest nearby as well, but we'll look at that at the end of the video. Before we look at the whole build, let's take a moment to get down to the brass tacks of what's special about the Pimp My Home mods. The key features to the Pimp My Home mods are the very modern look you can attain using them, and the fact that many of the pieces can change their textures from the radial menu. For example, the walls come in either concrete on both sides, or with one side able to change to a variety of other textures, including a really nice looking hardwood panel look, or bricks, and a couple of other high-tech textures as well. Ceilings can be either a fixed concrete texture, which, by the way, all non-changeable concrete pieces are fully paintable, or it can come with a variable texture on either one side or even both sides. Foundations are similar and come in two varieties. One is a standard foundation like this with variable floor textures, just like ceilings or walls. And the other foundation is something I would like to see other mod creators attempt. Instead of attempting to look completely like a standard interior floor or some type of building material, it goes for a more natural look, using a variety of ground textures, anything from sand to grassy rock to soil, whatever you need. This adds a great deal of flexibility. You can use them inside for a planted area or outside for perhaps a patio look or a nice flat level garden area. Other than that, it's just like using any other mod or even regular vanilla building components. Pretty simple, pretty easy, and pretty compatible. The remainder of the mod consists mostly of some very well done modern furniture pieces, lighting, and decorative pieces such as the terrariums and aquariums that are included, one of the latter being several stories high. I used a minimum of those types of pieces in this build, as building purely with the Pimp My Home mod can make the game a little framey, which is something to be avoided when you're trying to record a video. But if you mix this mod with other building mods or vanilla components, it stays pretty manageable. If you'd like to see a mixed build like that, as well as all of its included terrariums and aquariums, check out my Pimp My Home and my Seaview base videos. I'll make sure they pop up at the end of this video. Well, it seems the weather's turned against us, so I guess that's enough chit-chat. Let me show you how this build turned out. And that's how my starter base ended up, in an out-of-the-way, unassuming yet, to me, very interesting part of the Ragnarok map. Now that brings me to the final reason why I chose this location. Just a stone's throw away is a very interesting spot. It's a cave under this mountain. And I think it's one of the more interesting build spots on the map. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, you may find, like I have, that in many parts of the Ragnarok map, Apelagornis is a nigh perfect mount for getting into and out of almost all of the terrain this map has to offer. Just something to keep in mind. Now this particular part of the channel is very deep and getting deeper all the time as we go further into this cave. And it maintains a reasonable depth all the way out to the open ocean. Underneath us, though, is a huge chasm of underwater cliffs. In fact, there's almost as much to this cave underwater as there is above water. And this rocky shelf below me, it doesn't go very deep. And you can go underwater from where we just were all the way over to the waterfall if you so desire. The two other exits to this cave are directly overhead, and there's another opening over there that is directly in line with my base. There are rocky shelves and ramps that lead up to that one over there, but nothing that goes all the way up to the one directly overhead. However, that doesn't stop creatures from falling down in here from time to time. When I first found this cave, there were two enormous tails sticking out from under that rocky shelf just below me. Two T-Rexes had gotten themselves stuck underneath it. Quite an eye-opening experience, but still, I think this cave has potential, possibly as a breeding area. It's something I've been toying around with in the back of my mind, and I think I might want to experiment with breeding just a little bit. Keeping unwanted guests from falling in through the ceiling might be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. Well, that's the end of the video. So if you can find it in your heart to do so, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and maybe share it with a few thousand of your closest friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And until I see you again, good hunting.